America has had problems and issues with elections for many decades. For example, the Trump versus Biden 2020 election had some problems. One of them was that Biden won the election, but Republicans claimed that the Democrats cheated. One of the first elections with major problems was the election of 1824. This election had a corrupt bargain. But before we talk about the actual corrupt bargain, let's talk about the four main people who played a role in the election.
First, Andrew Jackson. He was born March 15, 1767, and died June 8, 1845. He was an American war hero. His nickname was Old Hickory. Andrew Jackson served in the Battle of New Orleans. He was the 7th President of the United States, and his presidency was March 4th, 1829 to March 4th, 1837. Andrew Jackson was in the Democratic Party. He was also known for being an American lawyer, statesman.
Next, John Quincy Adams, born in 1767 in Braintree, Massachusetts. John Quincy Adams was part of the Whig Party. He was the 6th President of the United States. His presidency was from 1825 to 1829. He was the eldest son of President John Adams. John Quincy Adams was a statesman, diplomat, lawyer, and diarist. He was the 8th Secretary of State and served from 1817 to 1825.
Next, Henry Clay. He was born April 12, 1777, and died June 29, 1852. He was part of the Whig Party. He was an attorney and statesman who was a member of the Senate and House of Representatives in the state of Kentucky. He was the 7th House Speaker, as well as the 9th Secretary of State.
Finally, William Crawford, born February 24th, 1772 in Amherst County, Virginia. He died September 16th, 1834 in Crawford, Georgia. He was known for being a politician and judge during the early 19th century. He served as the U.S. Secretary of War and U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. William H. Crawford was in the Democratic Party.
Now that all the major people in the election of 1824 were introduced, now let's talk about the election of 1824 itself. In the election of 1824, it was mainly a debate between the populist Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams, because they were the candidates with the most votes.
Andrew Jackson was winning the election with electoral and popular vote, but John Quincy Adams had an idea. To win the election, John Quincy Adams decided to make a deal with Henry Clay. This deal was that if Henry Clay gave John Quincy Adams his votes, then Henry Clay would be promised a spot as Secretary of State if John Quincy Adams won. Due to this deal, John Quincy Adams won the election by electoral vote. This deal was called the corrupt bargain.
John Quincy Adams wanted Henry Clay's votes because he shared many of Adams' positions on the other major issues at the time. He lent himself support, allowing Adams to win the contingent election on the first ballot. After the election, there was a law made to prevent a corrupt bargain from happening again. This will affect other elections by preventing one candidate running for president to give their votes to another candidate.
This is a video that briefly explains the results of the election of
84
1824.
electoral votes, Crawford 41, and Clay 37. Without a majority winner, it fell upon the House of Representatives to select the victor. As Henry Clay received the fewest electoral votes, he was eliminated as a choice. However, as Speaker of the House, he became the most influential person in determining the outcome. The House election occurred in February of 1825, with each...
The Krupp bargain was a debate in diplomacy. The Krupp bargain was a debate on whether giving votes to another candidate was fair. It was also a diplomacy because after the Krupp bargain happened, laws were made to prevent this from happening again. The Krupp bargain of the election of 1824 has even affected elections till today. Thank you for watching my documentary.